What's up, Summoners, and welcome back to another ProGuides video. My name is Nathan Ng, and today I'll be your host for our patch 11.8 rundown. This video will be covering all of the balance changes for the patch and also provide you with some tier lists organized by our high elo in-house analysts and coaches. This is an exciting patch, so make sure you hit that sub button and let's just jump right into it. We'll start off by talking about skins. With Gwen's release, Space Groove Gwen is also available for purchase. In addition, Black Frost Scion, Black Frost Vel'Koz, Dragon Guardian Galio, Dragon Slayer Kale, and Dragon Slayer Twitch were added this patch. Make sure you check these skins out, they look great as always. First up are item nerfs. Titanic Hydra has been nerfed this patch. Urgot, why do you have to do this to us, man? An entire item had to get nerfed when most champions who build it aren't even getting it nearly as much as Urgot is. The bonus attack damage from Titanic Hydra has been reduced from 1% total HP to 2% bonus HP. This makes it a much less effective first or second item purchase. While in the late game, it'll provide a similar amount of bonus damage, but players will not spike nearly as hard after finishing it early on. Ionian Boots of Lucidity has also been nerfed. The price has been increased from 900 to 950. Considering how popular these boots have become, I'm not surprised about this price adjustment. The purchase was just far too cost effective, but this small nerf won't have a huge impact. Next up are item buffs. Frozen Heart has been buffed this patch. The bonus armor has gone up from 70 to 80. Players focused on helping out their team are going to enjoy these buffs. The item is even better than before, and I wouldn't be surprised if support players start picking it up in the late game. Finally, let's talk about the item adjustments. Moonstone Renewer has been changed this patch. The Starlight Grace healing effect has been changed from 50 to 100 based on level to 60 flat. Also, instead of increasing the healing effect from the item while in combat, the item will instead increase your healing and shielding power by 4% per second in combat, up to a cap of 20%. Finally, the Mythic passive bonus has been changed from 5 ability haste to 10 extra healing on Moonstone Renewer. While champions who have a ton of healing built into the kit won't see many changes, the item will be weaker on the vast majority of champions. Also, since you will be finishing items in order to increase the healing effect, it'll be significantly weaker in games where players fall behind. I want to take a quick second to mention that we have a ton of incredible content over at ProGradscom. Check out the website, we even got coaches who would love to help you improve. Now, let's go back into the changes. Next up, Shurelya's battle song was also changed. First, the Inspire effect will no longer grant 35 to 55 magic damage for the next 30 damage instances. Instead, a new passive has been added, granting you and an ally 25% movement speed when you empower or protect them. The Mythic passive bonus stat has also been changed from movement speed to 5 ability haste. Staff of Flowing Water has also been changed. Instead of providing 50% movement speed and 20 to 40 ability power for 3 seconds, it now grants 20 ability haste and 20 to 40 ability power for 3 seconds. In terms of pure DPS, this change is a buff. However, movement speed is a lot easier to utilize. Any champions can take advantage of it, and the situations that you want it are numerous. Instead, Staff of Flowing Water will now be a less flexible item and now become one purchase under specific circumstances. Hextech Rocket Belt received a couple of changes as well. While the health was decreased from 350 to 250, it'll provide an extra 6 flat magic penetration. This makes the item closer to one suited for a glass cannon assassin build. Finally, Chemtech Putrefier was also changed. The ability power has gone up from 50 to 55, and the passive was modified. When you heal or shield an ally, you'll provide both your ally as well as yourself grievous wounds for the next attack. Items covered, now let's go ahead and talk about the champion balance. The biggest content this patch has to offer is the newest champion, Gwen. She's been released this patch, and we have content on our channel already covering her, so make sure you check it out. As always, we place her as unranked because she's a new champion, but we'll be sure to place her as soon as we have enough data to work off of. For our question of the day, what champion in the last year has been your favorite release and why? Although she's problematic at times, I have to admit that Samara is really fun to play as, maybe not against. I think balancing her fairly is nearly impossible, but Riot definitely did a good job of making a fun and exciting character. So give credit where credit is due. Let me know your answers in the comments below. Now, let's get back to the changes. Gnar has been nerfed this patch, however. His W's movement speed has been decreased from 30 to 75% to 20 to 80%. His early to mid game is definitely weaker than before because of this. Once you have a level 2 ultimate, however, you can break even. Less early game movement speed makes Gnar less snowbally since he won't be able to chase you as effectively as before. In spite of this nerf, we still think that Gnar will remain an S tier pick. It's no surprise that Yorick, who terrorized last patch, was nerfed in this one. Turrets will no longer target Yorick when his Mistwalkers attack an enemy. Instead, they'll target the Mistwalker. However, the Mistwalker damage has been reduced from 2 to 99 plus 30% total AD to 2 to 88 plus 25% total AD. Also, when Mistwalkers jump on an enemy, they'll deal 100% damage instead of 200%. Another effect is being added to his E as well. Mistwalkers will deal 40% increased damage for the next 8 attacks on marked enemies. Finally, turrets will attack the Maiden when she does damage to enemy champions rather than targeting Yorick. Turrets will also prioritize melee and ranged minions over the Maiden. While the E change might seem like a buff, the loss of initial burst is a pretty big nerf. We'll keep Yorick in the OP tier for now, but we'll be sure to keep an eye on him in this patch. Dr. Muno has received some changes to make him stronger as a top laner this patch and push him out of the jungle. First, his passive healing was increased by 1.5% max HP to 2.5% max HP. Also, his Q's damage cap against minions and monsters was lowered from 300 to 500 to 100 to 500. Q will now refund 100% instead of 50% health on champions hit, and E's flat attack damage boost was lowered by 10. In spite of these changes, we still don't think that Mundo will move up a tier yet. Healing reduction is even more accessible early on than last season since Oblivion Orb only costs 800 gold and now applies grievous wounds. Rumble has also been changed this patch to help him out as a top laner. First, his magic resist was lowered from 32 to 28, and his magic resist per level from 1.25 to 0.75. This should make him a weaker mid laner as he'll have a tougher time against magic damage. The buffs are nice though. His passive's bonus magic damage was from 25 to 110 to 10 to 50 plus 6% of the target's maximum health, and while overheated, Rumble also gains 50% bonus attack speed. This should help Rumble fight against all types of bruisers and tanks up top. Also, his E is getting a huge buff because it reduces the target's magic resistance by 10%, stacking additively, and this increases to 50% in danger zone. Our analysts have moved him up to the B tier as the buffs his passive should help him win all-ins much more easily. There's a good chance that he might even make it up to the A tier because the buff to this passive is huge. Our OP picks in the top lane are Darius, Garen, Malphite, and Yorick, followed up by Camille, Maokai, Poppy, Cho'Gath, Riven, Mordekaiser, Fiora, Urgot, Nocturne, Wukong, Jax, Gnar, and Sylas in the S tier. That's the top lanes covered, so let's go ahead and talk about the jungle next. Lee Sin leads the charge for jungle changes. We have an immense number of buffs to junglers this patch, and I'm kind of okay with it. Buff the weaker junglers to help them compete, but spoiler alert, are they actually buffing junglers? Anyway, his E's cooldown was reduced from 10 to 8. This is actually a huge buff to Lee Sin's clear speed as well as his combat power. With it, we think that Lee Sin can be pushed into the S tier, but take this with a grain of salt. You definitely need to be good at him to make him work. Next, Zac has got a nice buff to his W. The damage was increased from 25 to 85 plus 2% HP per 100 AP to 35 to 95 plus 4% per 100 AP. A flat damage buff leads to increased clear speed as well as more damage in fights. I wouldn't be surprised if AP Zac builds become more popular this patch as a result of these changes. We'll leave Zac in the B tier for now, however. Rammus got big changes this time. His Q's base damage was reduced from 100 to 240 to 100 to 220. His W also includes a new effect that allows him to extend the duration by basic attacking. You can increase the duration by 0.4 seconds for each attack up to a cap of 4 seconds. Rammus' E duration was also reduced from 1.25 to 2.25 seconds to 1.2 to 2 seconds. The biggest change is to his ultimate, however. When cast, Rammus can leap into the air and slam down, dealing 100 to 250 damage plus 0.6 AP. This also slows enemies by 15 to 20% for 1.5 seconds. After landing, Rammus will generate shockwaves at the landing location for 4 seconds, dealing 20 to 40 plus 0.1 AP damage per wave. The initial slow can be stacked up to 4 times this way. Rammus can cast his ability while using Powerball, and enemies hit will be knocked up in the center of his ultimate. We moved Rammus up to the S tier because of the changes to his ultimate, as they should make him much more versatile as a pick. Now, like I said, I don't know if it's actually junglers getting buffed. Zed got some changes to help him out in the jungle. His passive's on target cooldown will only be applicable to champions, and monster damage bonus has been removed. However, the passive monster damage cap was changed from 200 to 500 to 300 flat and will only apply to epic monsters. Since the on-target cooldown no longer applies to monsters, this should still result in an increased clear speed even after the loss of bonus damage. With the faster clear, we moved Zed up to the C tier. Darius also got a buff to his passive. The bonus damage to monsters has been increased from 175% to 300%. This giant increase in clear speed should be able to bring Darius up into the C tier. Mordekaiser is next for jungle buffs. His passive's damage cap against monsters is being increased from 28 to 164 to 180 at all levels. Also, his passive will now apply stacks and refresh the timer on all monsters rather than only the large ones. Increased clear speed as well as the usability should help Mordekaiser out quite a bit. The biggest change is that this will help Mordekaiser clear objectives like Rift Herald and Dragon. However, we'll be keeping Mordekaiser in the C tier for now. Morgana is up next. Her W had its bonus monster damage increased from 150 to 200%. This is another nice buff, and with it, we moved her up to the C tier as well. Finally, Diana's passive damage against monsters was increased from 150 to 300%. Also, the attack speed bonus has gone up from 10 to 40% to 20 to 40%, which of course will help out mid lane Diana players as well. She's also up to the C tier as a result of these changes. One final change is that Dr. Mundo has been moved down to the B tier because of those top lane changes. He'll remain a powerful low elo pick, but the loss of clear speed definitely hurts him a bit across all ranks. In the OP tier, we have Hecarim, Shaco, and Elise, followed up by Kha'Zix, Graves, Evelynn, Nunu, Ivern, Fiddlesticks, Viego, Udyr, and Rammus in the S tier. Next, we have the mid lane. Annie was nerfed, but before anyone says anything, it's not a very big one. Her W's mana cost went up from 70 to 110 to 80 to 120. This change won't have a really big effect as you aren't spamming this ability anyway. Luckily for her, she's staying in the S tier. Orianna was nerfed this patch because she was too strong in high elo and competitive play. Her E's bonus resistances was lowered from 10 to 30 to 6 to 30. The changes to Ludus have helped out Orianna a lot, as her short Q cooldown has led to a massive increase in damage output. Making her squishier earlier should allow assassins and aggressive laners to fully take advantage of Orianna before she scales up. Orianna will remain in the B tier for now, however. LeBlanc got a buff this patch. Her Q got 10 damage across all ranks. You can activate the damage twice, so this is technically 20 more damage. This is an early game buff. Players should be able to find more leads in lane. Whether it's solo kills or forcing your opponents to base faster, you should be able to have a much bigger impact than before playing LeBlanc. She'll stay in the S tier. Cassiopeia received a nice change as well. Her E's mana cost was reduced from 50 flat to 50 to 42 based on rank. While this won't be that big of a deal in the late game, it'll definitely help out players when they're not able to get blue buff. Running out of mana while taking objectives like Baron or Dragon should be less of a worry than before. It's also nice that you'll have more mana to work with while laning. Cassiopeia will remain an A tier pick for now. A change that will move a champion up a tier is for Vladimir. His Q's cooldown has been reduced from 9 to 5 seconds to 9 to 4 seconds. At level 9 when he maxes his Q, this is a huge buff. While a 1 second reduction isn't that big of a deal for abilities with long cooldowns, when the cooldown is already so short, it's a huge difference. With increased damage output, we'll think that he'll become a power pick next patch. Our OP picks for the mid lane are Anivia, Zed, Katarina, and Yasuo, followed up by Pantheon, Victor, Talon, Annie, Galio, Fizz, Echo, Kiana, Viego, Diana, Ahri, Yone, LeBlanc, Kassadin, Silas, and Vladimir in the S tier. Wow, that's a lot of S tier picks. But then again, there's also a lot of champions. Now let's move down to the bottom lane. Not too much going on here though. Aphelios has gotten some love this patch. His passive lethality has gone up from 3 to 18 to 3.5 to 21. His ultimate's Calibrum damage per mark was also increased from 40 to 100 to 50 to 110, and ultimate Severum healing up from 250 to 500 to 275 to 525. With these small buffs, Aphelios will definitely feel stronger, but we won't move him up a tier yet. While we don't have many other changes to announce, we do want you guys to know that Tahm Kench and Senna duo is still being used even now. Surprisingly, Tahm Kench has actually gotten a pretty solid win rate as a bot laner even though his stats are otherwise lackluster. For those of you who are enjoying Senna, it might be worth putting some time in and giving this duo another try. Our OP pick for the bottom lane is Jinx, followed up by Samira, Tristana, Kai'Sa, Ezreal, Ashe, Vayne, Jhin, Caitlyn, Seraphine, Swain, and Sivir in the S tier. A lot of these S tier picks are subjectively OP, but it really comes down to who you value as a player. Samira and Tristana are snowbally champions who can dominate games when ahead, but of course, that comes with risks. Let's move on to support to wrap it all up. We expect to see a bunch of changes occur through the course of this patch after the changes to Moonstone Renewer and Staff of Flowing Water. We'll make adjustments in our mid-patch update because this is a huge systematic change that we'll need time to assess. However, there are still balance changes to champions to talk about. Thresh has once again been nerfed. Last time he got nerfed, nothing really changed, so he's back for round 2. Thresh's E cooldown was increased from 9 seconds flat to 11 to 9 seconds based on rank. This means that there's now a reason to potentially max E rather than your W. Players that choose not to will instead have to suffer 2-second increased cooldown on the ability. This should make Thresh less snowbally early on, as the reduced cooldown means that you'll have much less kill pressure in fights. We'll move Thresh to the S tier for now, but we'll make sure to keep an eye on him. He'll definitely remain a popular pick and expect him to be a very solid champion. We move Senna up to the S tier. She's finding a lot more success than before, and with the changes to support items, we think that Senna will end up comparatively stronger as well. While enchanters weren't hard nerfed, their utility is now more situational than before, and with Senna left untouched, she should come out on top. In Korea, Senna is regarded as a top tier pick, and players even build Frostfire Gauntlet on her now. Our OP pick for this patch is Leona, followed up by Thresh, Lulu, Bard, Morgana, Nautilus, Blitzcrank, and Senna in the S tier. And that'll be wrapping up our patch 11.8 rundown. Thank you guys so much for watching, and we really hope you enjoyed it. Check out the description for a link to join our Discord, and also don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to the channel for good luck in the rest of your games. Until next time, stay safe, stay healthy, and have a wonderful day. Peace.